So today is going to be all about Indian EVs, which I have at the moment. I have a Mahindra XUV400 EV, and I am just madly impressed with this car's quality. Like, Indian cars in general just have so much better driving dynamics and just refinement as compared to some time ago, like a decade ago. I am just madly impressed by how well they got and how quickly that they redefined their technology and are now at a much better place in the global market. It's quite reassuring, honestly, to see Indian car makers like Mahindra and Tata step up their game and come onto the global scale. I remember as a kid, cars made in India were seen as very robust. Luckily, they still are seen as robust, but in terms of refinement and quality, they just weren't there yet. In terms of features, they lacked to their Japanese, Korean, let's not even talk about Chinese counterparts, because Chinese just quickly came into the picture in the last 5 years to 10 years, last decade only, whereas Indian cars have been around for at least a couple of decades now. And what I'm trying to say is that there was this whole stereotype about Indian cars being very basic, functional wise, practicality wise. They were there. They had the clearance, they had the engine, but the engine didn't have any refinement. The seating felt a bit awkward and like very upright, not cushy and comfortable, nothing too cozy. But over the years, what I have come to see, like in this EV right here, is through trial and error, there has been so much of improvement that I'm so happy now with the quality in Indian cars. Their suspension is like leagues apart to what it was before. Their performance is leagues apart. Their efficiency is leagues apart. Their tech on the inside, they've learned what their customer base wants and demands and have tried the best to like fulfill it. They have added very geographically centric, like things needed in South Asia friendly tech, but nothing too much. Indian cars are still lacking ADAS technology, but I'm a proponent of we may or may not need ADAS in our part of the world just because of how chaotic traffic is. And while I'm saying radar and LiDAR sensors won't work in Nepal, I am definitely saying they might sometimes work too much and brake or emergency brake even before what you would yourself, and thereby causing an accident. So while I'm very happy about having ADAS tech in the car, it also puts me on my toes, thinking that my car could brake anytime without me actually braking. Yes, that might work in a lot of preventive positions, accidents, where the car will brake in instances where you don't see the things happening, but at other times it's really not the best. Oof, I am stuck. Nice. This is what I mean by ADAS technology can sometimes work and can sometimes not work. While it is great for working sometimes, at other times it's not. You just have traffic from all areas converging and diverging, and I'm not talking just about vehicles, but pedestrians and bikes and whatnot. Anyway, like for this car, I'll switch it to fearless mode, foot down, and it just pulls you all the way up to 60. No questions asked, no hassles. I don't remember a time in my childhood or just even 5 years ago where you could achieve this amount of performance from an Indian vehicle. And I understand this is an EV with that instant torque, but just coming to this level of refinement does mean there's been a lot of R&D done behind the scenes before you get this final product, and I am definitely quite happy about it. The sound system on Indian cars are better, the handling is better, but most of all, they've matched their performance and like driving handling with the roads. Not all roads in this part of the world are well pitched and paved and smooth. A lot of them are still dirt tracks, gravel that has been smoothened, and so on. And these manufacturers have put a lot of thought into what sort of terrain these South Asian made cars will perform on, and how they want to maximize and benefit the passenger comfort, whether it is in space or it just in like ride handling. Shocks are like getting really well fine-tuned in dampening and that first recoil as compared to before, and then you have mileage. Also, India is the first place, probably the biggest market for this mid-size SUV compact, because cities are narrow and crowded with like, hey, India and Nepal are very dense, and Bangladesh, Pakistan, they're all densely populated areas. They're not very sparse, and so you're going to have a lot of congestion on the roads, everyone having their own vehicles. And so while there is always a love and preference for like large vehicles, a lot of people also prefer to stay on the smaller side as long as it meets family needs. And this is a great example of it. It's a mid-size SUV. It's not a large SUV like a Toyota RAV4 or Fortuner, but Mahindra have made that sort of larger SUVs, but they've also focused on this mid SUV segment, which is smaller but bigger than a traditional family hatchback. And I think that's what really speaks a lot to me. Unlike cars that are imported from abroad, these brands, they are growing by trial. One, which is commendable, but two, the designers and researchers and engineers that go into building them are all brought up and bred in this part of the world, so they know the needs firsthand better than anyone. Like, you can't expect an Indian engineer to suddenly be able to produce a fine Japanese road worthy car, and in the same way you can't expect Japanese engineers and Chinese engineers to suddenly configure and understand what Nepali, Indian, Bangladeshi roads and highway is like, because that's just something you grow into. I'm not saying it can't be learned, but it takes a lot of time. And so cars like this, which are researched, designed and built here for here, I think are probably the most practical in terms of usage. But then again, there's still a little bit of top-end refinement that needs to be caught up before they can start competing with internationally recognized brands, which again, in the grand scale of things, seeing how Indian cars are already here at this point, another couple of years, half a decade, maybe a decade maximum, I feel that cars will get there, and then these cars will be just as good as any other. Anyway, let me know what you think about Indian cars and their improvement in quality, like overall quality, from handling to tech on the inside to appliances to features to economy to you name it. Drop a comment down below and I'll see you on the next one.